my name is Nilily8 and welcome back to my long-term survival world. In the last episode, one of the many things that I did was I tore out all of the trees from underneath my bridge here, and that is allowing me to see the landscape a whole lot better because eventually I want to fix all of this up. I don't want to change it a whole bunch, but I definitely want to smooth it out. There's a few holes I can see and like entrances into caves that I don't want and stuff like that. But when I terraform this whole area, I would like to add a few more blocks to it, like for example moss and rooted dirt and mud and clay. But I need a better way of collecting all of those materials. I have a little bit of moss. I have like one piece of rooted dirt to my name just from like planting down an azalea tree one time and collecting the rooted dirt that it produced. And I have a little bit of mud, I have a little bit of clay, but I would like much better ways of collecting those things. So I searched the internet, specifically YouTube here, and for farms to build, like a moss farm and a rooted dirt farm, a mud farm, clay farm, because I know that I can automatically do those things. And I found a good moss farm, I found a good easy mud farm, and I know an easy way to turn that mud into clay. But one of the things that I didn't really find was a good rooted dirt farm. So I went ahead and I went into my creative test world and I played around with redstone, which I usually don't do, but I've been pretty interested in learning how to do redstone recently. So I designed a rooted dirt farm that is going to work really well for what I need it for. So I am going to build that today, and you might be thinking, where are you going to build these farms that you're speaking of? Well, this is my storage room right here. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of chests and stuff. I do this all manually. I put the stuff in the chests because they're labeled, and for example, this is dirt. All of these ones over here are full, and then this one with a blank sign on it is not full. That way I know which chest to put stuff in for basically every single block. And behind here, recently in a live stream, I dug out an entire room. This has room to have a piston door here instead of just a regular door. I need to figure out how to do one of those because I've never built one of those before. Like I said, I don't play around with redstone that often. But anyway, if we go in here, this is a big ol' empty space. I need to fix up the ceiling and the walls. I want to make it all stone and maybe do a little bit more decorating, like maybe some wooden pillars or something very, very simple. And then inside this room will be the redstone contraptions that I described. For example, moss farm, rooted dirt farm, an easy way to turn my rooted dirt into mud instead of just using regular dirt since I'm already creating rooted dirt to build out of. And then I need a way to turn that mud into clay. After just a tiny bit more work in this room, it is all nice and cleaned up and ready for a couple of farms to go inside of it. We are going to start with the moss farm, which is going to go right over here on this platform. I decided to put the farms on platforms, I don't know, just because I thought it might look nice. And also, for the moss farm, I don't want the moss spreading to anything, so I'm trying to prevent that the best I can with not having just a stone floor. I put some glowstone in there to light it up, and this is smooth stone, if I'm remembering the name of that correctly. Yeah, smooth stone. So the moss farm is going to go right here, and the design of that I got from pixlriffs. A couple years ago, he made a video describing how to build this. It was a hardcore survival guide video. I'll attempt to remember to link it in the description when I'm uploading this video. But anyway, I am basically gonna copy that design exactly here. And I'd also like to mention that I actually did use all of the information that I learned in pixlriffs' video about the moss farm to also design the rooted farm that I'm going to put over here, which is very simple, but it's going to be really effective for what I want it for. You'll be able to see that later after I build the moss farm. This is going to be so much easier than the way that I was collecting moss before. If I just go over here to this lever and turn this thing on real quick, it'll start producing moss for me. And I didn't make a collection system, you can probably tell right here. I thought it would be fine if I was the collection system. I can just run around right here in this farm, and some of it gets caught over here, but I can just collect it all into my inventory and then put it in these chests that are over here. I thought the moss blocks can go right here, the wheat seeds and maybe moss carpets can go in here, or maybe the azalea and the moss carpets can go in there, just to separate it all. I did that on both sides of these steps here. And I think this is going to work really well. It's going to get me plenty of moss to build with, and also plenty of moss to use in the rooted dirt farm that I now need to build over there, because I need the moss. That's what I'm going to be turning into the rooted dirt instead of just using regular dirt, since I'm literally producing endless moss right now. And then the azalea saplings, these little azalea trees will grow and then make the moss into rooted dirt. And I'll have like pistons pushing it along. It's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to be a whole lot easier of a way to collect this stuff. And even just standing here for the couple of minutes that it's taken me to record this bit so far, I've already had like multiple stacks of moss. So this is gonna be pretty good. Now I just gotta go over here and build the rooted dirt farm, which I will go ahead and show you when it's complete, like I did the moss farm. I love this rooted dirt farm. The design for it here is very simple. We just have two timers, one right here, and it is connected to this piston, which pushes these rooted dirt blocks that way. And then there's this timer, which pushes these rooted dirt blocks that way. And I have it all timed out so that when all of these blocks are pushed all the way down here, this timer is ready to push these blocks this way. So it fills up this whole area with rooted dirt. So it is gonna be working out perfect for us. Let me get rid of this rooted dirt that I put here earlier. I was testing out the farm after I built it, and we'll get to see exactly how much it made, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys how this thing works as well, because it is pretty cool in my opinion, even though it is super simple. And you do have to manually collect the dirt like that. I got 2 stacks and 2 rooted dirt, and there's a little bit more right there, but these 3 dirt do have to be here to start out for this thing to properly work and fill out this entire area here. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to have moss in your inventory. I have plenty of moss here, and I have it in this inventory slot here, and right next to it I have these azalea bushes, because the way this works is that this piston is going to push this rooted dirt that way, and we'll get to place the moss down in this spot with an azalea bush on top of it, and then you grow the azalea bush and it grows. Even with all of this tree right there, another tree still grows, and then you can get rid of the bottom log so that you can then do that all over again and make more rooted dirt. And really this farm just kind of gets rid of having to tear down a whole tree and also having to like move the rooted dirt as you go. It just puts it in a nice little pile for you. So this timer over here has a stack and 32 polished granite inside of it, and then this timer over here has 10 polished granite. Now I have these timers timed almost perfectly. I probably could like move a few blocks around and make it just that more perfect, but what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to flip this timer on and then go ahead and wait over here, because this is going to empty into the other chest. And then once that's empty, those pistons are going to pulse once. And then once those pistons pulse once, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and then the timing will be perfect. If I were to go ahead and turn this on right now, it wouldn't fill in that whole space because the timing isn't quite perfect. So we'll go ahead and wait here for the pistons to pulse. Should be any second now. There we go, and we'll turn that on. Go ahead and wait for this block to push and place that there, and we'll go ahead and get started. I gotta break that, and it'll push that along, and then I can do it again. All the way until that gets filled up down there, and I can stand on either side of this technically, but I am gonna stand on this side. Oh, I gotta get rid of that log. And the way this is timed, I don't have to do it like super duper fast. I feel like honestly this is the perfect timing to where I can kind of relax a little bit, and I don't have to try and be as fast as I possibly can. There's room for error. Alrighty, so now that that whole space is filled up with rooted dirt, the whole system is kind of locked up. It's gonna keep trying to push the pistons, but it can't possibly push any more in each direction. So let's turn that off, and also that off. And we've got a whole nother 2 stacks plus 2 of rooted dirt. Now, the next thing that I need to do is just make a tiny little farm. It'll probably go right here. This is enough space for it to turn this rooted dirt into mud. That way I'll have moss, rooted dirt, and mud, and eventually there's enough room over there to make a whole mud drying out station so that I can get clay, and then I can smelt that clay into terracotta. This is a really good little block making area. Now that I have this mud farm here, which instantly turns this rooted dirt into mud, I can create 4 different types of blocks with also that tower of dripstone and pointed dripstone, which I will take a closer look at in a moment. I have the moss farm, which of course creates the moss, and then I'm using the moss and the azalea trees and also some bone meal, which I get from a skeleton farm I have elsewhere, and I'm making the rooted dirt with this rooted dirt farm here. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if you would like a tutorial building this rooted dirt farm. It'll show you all the little details and how to build the timers and stuff and put the pistons and have it all working. Let me know if you want that in the comment section, because I definitely will make it. There's not very many rooted dirt farm tutorials here on YouTube, so I will definitely do that if you're wanting it. And then I take this rooted dirt, since I'm infinitely making it with the rooted dirt farm, and I use the mud farm here, which I've already used to make almost 2 stacks of mud, and later, actually I'll take a little bit right now and show you, I can put this mud on top of this dripstone. We'll go all the way up to the top layer here. This will hold 3 stacks. Each platform is 1 stack. So let's put this down here, and it'll slowly dry out and make clay blocks, and I can harvest those. I have a silk touch spoon here. It's actually a shovel. So I can use that to harvest the clay block right away, just like that one just turned into clay right there, and those 2, it happens kind of fast, surprisingly. Oops, didn't mean to fall all the way down here, but yeah, instead of getting clay balls, I will get clay blocks when all of this turns into clay. now I just have to sit in this room using all of these farms here, gathering all of these blocks, and I don't know exactly how many blocks I need. I just know I need a lot to terraform that valley that we started off in that is underneath my bridge. But anyway, that is going to be the end of this episode here. In live streams in the future, maybe starting tonight, because these videos usually upload on Tuesdays, I will sit in this room here and gather up all of the materials that I may need to terraform down there. But that is the end of this video here. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon so that you never miss when I upload and when I live stream. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!